Okay, good morning, Ms. Una. It is Friday, October 4th, and we are getting ready to start our Economic Development, Historic Preservation, and Environmental Conservation Committee. And I guess we'll start with the roll.
Okay, so I had some technical difficulties, but Chief Vina was online when I come back. But in the room, we have Ray Gillen from Metroplex, Zach Horton from Metroplex Representative, Matt Yetto, Rita Agler-McCall, Tommy Mickey, Elena Finnan, Aaron Cassidy-Dorian, David D'Arpino, John Delarada, myself, Laura Robertson, and Trish Bergani.
Very good. And I know we have a presentation, and Doc, if you want to.
Sure, I certainly will.
Gillen.
Again, our guest speaker really needs no introduction. I just want to say this, that over the last 2.5 decades, we've seen a transformation in our county, an economic transformation. And that is in no small part due to the leadership of our guest speaker. It is my honor and privilege to introduce once again Mr. Ray Gillen. Let's give him a
I'm the summer helper in the Niskuna Highway Department. That was my job that got me through college. Just a little outline just to make this go as quickly as possible. I know you have a agenda. I just wanted to cover a lot of stuff. Most of which you already know, but so I first want to thank Doc Hort for serving on the board. He's done a great job. It's a pleasure to have him there. Not to mention the spirit and came talents and have to see the singer dance. Gotta go. I can't do either sing or dance, but I try to do a good job of economic development. First, we start with the fact that Niskuna received $1.28 million from Metroplex in the most recent year, 23. That's because the county collects 0.5% of the sales tax that's devoted to Metroplex. Little known fact that 30% of that goes right out the door to the towns. The other 70% comes to us to invest in projects that create more sales tax, jobs, and property tax. And the more sales tax we create, the more sales tax we get to invest, the more the towns get, and the more the community benefits. That's how we do it. It's kind of a revolving door. The more projects we do, the more property tax we create, the more sales tax we create, the more jobs we create. Then we get more money from the sales tax. We get more money to give to you, and we get more money to invest, and on it goes. The city does not get an allocation like you do, but the expectation was, the reason not because of that is the expectation was that quite a bit of projects would be done in the city, because the city back in 04 when I came in was very bad shape. So we're an instrument of the county. We're a state authority with local appointed members. Thank you, appointed Doc. Thank you. And we try to do projects that are meaningful and create jobs, create momentum, and create good activity, positive activity. We also are focused on smart growth. 99% of our projects that people agree with, and they're putting projects to the right place and converting anybody's lifestyle as a homeowner. Quick updates on all things Niskuna that we've been involved in. A big win was to get Momentum come to the old SI campus, and we saved SI as well. We moved SI down to the harbor. Otherwise, we could have lost those shops in Texas, where they actually are the headquarters. So they're happy with this down in the harbor. If you're at Brothers, or places down there, just walk to the end and see the new SI. But Momentum is very pleased to be in this field. It's bringing smart people here. One of the things that the former supervisor used to talk about was getting smart people to come to Niskuna, live in Niskuna, work in Niskuna. I think that was an admirable goal and still a great goal. And, we just met recently with Laura and Clark and the team about some additional positive things that Momentum is going to come forward with related to some R&D facilities and some lab facilities at their campus. So we just look forward to that coming online and being presented to the planning board in 2025. We had a very good preliminary meeting. One of the things Clark and Laura did was really let people know these are the rules. This is what we were expecting. We want good projects, we want good developers, we want good construction firms, we want trees, we want, smart things. And, that really is helpful to companies early on, so they can come in with the right together as they go forward. But, Momentum has been a good success. E1 is just finishing up $8 million rebuilding at their campus right across the street from Momentum. Helping do a ribbon cutting there. I drove over there yesterday. Again, great company doing projects. They build this sewer equipment that really makes sewer lines possible in difficult geographic areas. So areas that are very rocky, mountains, lakefronts, where you didn't have sewer, people just had septic or other things that was in the lake, and they're able to do perfect examples, river sledge. The grinder pumps, so grinder pumps, river sledge pumps. Great company, environmentally focused, good citizen in this community. The Capital F complex is going forward. I think the founder, Greg John, really came forward. We did a good job presenting the options. We said we want the most expensive option. We want the one that does the most cleanup, that does the most good for the community. That was the option that was chosen. Stay in touch with the federal officials and that project's on track, which started shortly. And that's a 60. If you go by the RV sign, it's the sign on front message engagement. We realize that they're the host of the RV center now. They are the other ship. They are the anchor tenant in that facility. And most people think we realize that GE owns our huge percent of military and commercial aircrafts in the world. And they're a dominant share. And pretty much all of the technology associated with those engines, that work comes from this unit. So we play a major role in aviation. And that facility there with more than 1,000 PhDs is just an incredible asset for it. And we've been in touch with them. They are doing well, and hopefully we'll have some projects and some other activities from them to bother Laura. Add to your workload, but it's all good. And, GE Vernova as well as with cooperation from the town, has carved out their portion of the RV campus. They wanted to own a piece of the facility, and if they couldn't do that, they probably wouldn't have been a tenant there. So that was very important, and the planning board and others approved that subdivision, which is very critical, and we're very optimistic about some activities that will go on with GE Vernova again in the coming year. And we'll keep you closely informed about that, but their business is growing as well. Aviation is growing. GE Vernova is growing. GE Vernova has an incredible corporate goal, which is to decarbonize and power the world. A quarter of the world's electricity is generated every day by GE equipment, most of it developed and manufactured in Schenectady. And Vernova's goal is clean up the planet and make sure we still have power at the same time. And it's really an admirable goal. One of the technologies that they're deploying at the campus in this unit is the DAC project, the direct air capture project. Again, the planning board chair and the planning staff were very patient because we went through a lengthy approval process for this project. And right at the end, GE said, oops, we made a mistake. We need to move the location of this project, which is a little bit of an eye opener. But we all kind of took a breath and came back and were able to relocate to a better spot with a better image and a better impact on the environment. Everything about it was better. So it was really cool that we were able to kind of shift gears and you all were able to be so helpful. But this is an amazing project. We talked about this at the Metroplex meeting. They're developing a technology there that solve global warming. It takes carbon out of the air. Everybody's focused on renewables to stop more air pollution from happening. One of the problems is that the air we have now has problems already. So the key is to decarbonize past sins of emissions. And this technology that GE is deploying in this unit, direct air capture, is their goal. The stated goal is they have a technology, a better mousetrap, a new way of doing things that can capture carbon in the existing air and clean it. If it works, it's going to be an absolute game-changing technology. We expect Secretary of Energy, all kinds of major national and international folks to come to Niskuna and see this building when it's built. They estimate that the current campus now generates about 5,000 visitors a year already, which is incredible. You know, those people are coming into town, staying in hotels, going to restaurants. But it's really an amazing project. Just, you know, Google GE DAC, direct air capture, read about it. It's really a significant thing. And again, I can't thank the planning board and the staff enough for pivoting and you know, again, it was a lengthy approval. It was exhaustive. All of the procedures were followed. And at the end, they needed to move it, and we were able to do that. GE Healthcare is also a tenant at the facility. So you have 3 GE companies now: Renova, Aviation, and Healthcare. Just, you know, talk around town. Again, they're doing cutting edge, decarbonize the world, power the world. You also want to talk about conversational items. Probably the hottest stock on Wall Street right now is GE Renova. You know, you think it's, you know, it's AMD or, you know, some Google or some other stock. Forget about it. Look it up. They went public because the 3 companies split up and all became independent companies. GE Renova stocks, I don't own these stocks. I'm not here plugging this stock. It's gone up over $100 a share. 150, it's over 250 now. Jim Cramer, you watch those financial shows. They're talking about GE Renova every night. I met somebody yesterday who lives in the town. He said, "What GE stocks are like $16, isn't it?" And I'm like, "No, it's $250." And again, it's just it's not something that is talked about widely enough. The cutting edge research done there, the aviation research, power research, but also this is a very successful company that's just launched and it's still in its early stages, but it's the hottest thing on Wall Street. I'm not exaggerating. Look it up and you'll see. Niskuna Commerce Park, we're kind of holding steady. We're being very selective with the Gillespie Group that owns 100 acres there. We have Unilux there that came down from Toronto. We have the Automated Dynamics folks who are now Trello board. We have the Army Reserve Center. We have other locations there, but we're looking for the right fit. We don't want distribution. We don't want a lot of trucks. We don't want noise. We don't want fumes. We don't want anything that's not going to be character Niskuna. So we're looking for, you know, 20,000 square foot, 10,000 square foot technology companies that would be a supplier to GE or something like that. So we'll continue to work on that site. It's shovel ready. It's in good shape. We're excited about the potential there. Again, talked about this last year. When you add up Apple, GE Vernova, GE Aviation, GE Healthcare, Momentive, Environment One, and the 2 technology companies at the Niskuna Commerce Park, that's something we call the Niskuna Innovation Corridor. That's bigger than Global Foundries. That's bigger than any other technology cluster in the capital region. It doesn't get nearly as enough attention, which is probably a good thing. We just, you know, we don't have to go out and brag all the time, but it's just a point of interest, and they're higher paying jobs. They're higher paying jobs than at these other major technology clusters in the region. So you're talking about the biggest technology innovation cluster in the regions here. Point of interest, because we're all citizens of the county, the downtown GE plant is also doing extremely well. GE moved onshore wind turbine work there, not offshore, onshore. They just produced their 100th unit. Their business is very strong, and that's good for everybody in the county. Type up Google GE Jobs Schenectady or Niskuna, you'll see dozens of jobs. In the campus downtown, you'll see today over 100 jobs listed that are open. They're looking for people. So we're very fortunate that GE is firing on all cylinders. Rivers Ledge, phase 1, I just, again, thank the town. You played a key role in this. I went walking down there the other night before I go, like, I do this, you go for a short walk, then go out to eat. So really, you know, it doesn't compensate for overeating. But I gotta tell you, there's not a blade of grass. It looks so fantastic. And phase 2 is underway with 60 senior units, 50, 60, thank you. If you haven't been out, just drive through. It's and again, who lives there? A lot of smart people, a lot of people from IBM that work with the Nanotech Center. It's really again, it was an auto junkyard, and it was a tough project. It really was. We all had to work very hard. Some people were saying, you know, well, this is it really take, if you haven't gone down there, just walk around for 5 minutes. It's right next to the bike trail. The amenities that they created, the park. Laura drove this project almost from the beginning. She was here. It was an auto junkyard. It looks spectacular. And I think the senior housing that's following is really going to help keep folks in town who, you know, they want to downsize their house, et cetera. Cola Plaza looks great. You know, the county took the lead on that with it. But we, Metroplex, played a major role in paving and doing the street furniture, which is a term I never heard of before, but I'm starting to learn these planning terms. It really looks great. I mean, it's a completely, I grew up here. I mean, I remember what it looked like. If you just take a fresh look at Cola Plaza, it's striking how much better it looks with the different amenities that have been added there, the paving, the upgrades. There are still a couple of storefronts and signs that we would like to see improved. We took some photos there this week. We're going to contact some of those owners and say, we'll help you with a small facade grant. We'll help you with signage grant because, and Tommy's done such a great job. I mean, it's just what he's done with the outdoor seating, the whole vibe is just unbelievable. So we thank you for what you did. You really helped drive the whole improvement at the plaza, and instrumental in all the early meetings. And but you really got to step back and pat yourself on the back for a while. Not me, Danielle in our office, you know, the team here, Tommy, take a bow because the place looks fundamentally different than it did just a year or two ago. And we still like to get a few more storefronts improved and signs improved. So we're working.
And it's much more people and user friendly
Yeah.
than it was.
Yeah, it really is. It points to the role that good planning plays and amenities and street furniture and lighting and safety with the crossings. And it's really just, and someone said, yeah, this shows our kind of our flexibility. If you have ideas, if we're watching, we had a gentleman say, you know, there's no bike racks. You guys are stupid. You know, you forgot bike racks. We had bike racks out there within 2 weeks. They were like astounded that we can move pretty quickly at Metroplex. So if people have ideas, why don't you do some better lighting or something? We're all ears. We love to jump in and do that kind of stuff. Former St. James Square. I mean, we're blessed that Price Chopper came in. We played a key role in getting shop right there with the board and the town at the time. We're blessed that Market 32 came in and took it over. I go through it this morning again and probably have the highest occupancy rate that we've had there, you know, almost ever. So it's really looking good. I love the school district headquarters project by John Locke, hybrid development, making use of the empty law office. Again, we've got great cooperation on staff, on planning board. That building stays on the tax rolls. The school district has the ability to buy it at some point. But what better place for school district offices to go? We just did this with the city too. School district offices have to move out of schools. You don't want people coming into a middle school who are going to, you know, for a meeting at the school district. It just doesn't work anymore for safety concerns, kids and everything. So what better place? It's centrally located, close to the Market 32 place here, as we call it now. Great ideas. Couple of other things. Reminder that we have the land bank and we've done some great projects in this unit. We want to do more. We did Cornelius, we did Van Antwerp, that really horrible house in Van Antwerp, again, working with the town staff. We just had a big win in Delanson where we had a zombie property that was around for 13 years, right in the heart of Delanson out near Duanesburg. And we're able to get that property under control and to demolish it. But just remember the land bank as a tool. Metroplex cannot touch 1 or 2 family homes. The land bank can. We run the land bank. It's won a lot of state grants. So you've got eyesore properties that are highly visible, because we can't fix every eyesore property. But if they're highly visible, like the one on Van Wicken, like the one on Cornelius, like the one on Mohawk Road, we are there to provide help, you know, to help spruce up the place, demolish it if need be, rebuild, just keep us in mind. Talked yesterday, and I understand the other talking, it's like that site on Eastern Island, across the Temple Gates, Low Sparkle, it's all over going. We didn't get involved in that project. I was nervous about that project from the beginning. Unfortunately, the owners, Hadarovsky's, basically dissolved their company. My understanding is that it's been sold, and yeah, they are. There was one We can talk more about it. I just want to confirm that. But I talked to the lawyer who's handling the sale yesterday. I'm like, you gotta clean up the site. If you go, I don't live far from there. I live over the city line. Sorry, but I'm on 09. It is, I mean, the grass is like 8 foot tall. And there's parts of, you know, like the project buckets and things that haven't been cleaned up from the Hodorowskis. As they come in, and we understand someone's bought the project and wants to go forward there, please ask them as they come in, like, okay, we're gonna work with you, just like we were working with the previous people, if you don't mind me. Yeah, it's like, you gotta mow the lawn before you do anything. Like, if you don't clean up the site and protect it, I'm surprised people at the temple aren't going crazy, because it's again, a highly visible border. I'm happy if they're in an interim phase. We have big cleanup crews that work for us. If I can, and I told the lawyer yesterday, we'll jump in and mow that place and knock down the weeds if need be, because we have people that are good at doing that stuff. It looks horrible. We need to do something. Route 7. One of the things we talked about, previous supervisor, we never followed up on, was I think we should ask, this is totally me giving an unsolicited suggestion, which I hope you don't mind.
Never.
But no, it is, we go to DOT, the regional director, I have his contact. You know, why not put those big electronic signs on Route 7 and just say, you know, and I love that you got these grants for Route 7. It took a lot of guts and a lot of energy to get those. I know how hard they are. And it's fabulous that you got those, and those changes are going to happen and improve safety. But DOT should get out there with a couple of electronic signs, say, I crashed, like you see in the city sometimes, you know, mock traffic, you know, whatever they say, they warn people to slow down, I would say. And I can share that information with you. You know, I mean, we just met with DOT the other day about 890. 890 is just, it's just people I mean, it drives me crazy. And now we have a lot of people coming to the casino, to Proctor's, to GE, because it's booming downtown. And what do they see? They look at a litter strewn 890. So we went in and you know, we're pretty proactive with DOT, but I anything they can do, even I know the state police used to do sky patrols, they have drones, and what else can be deployed to help with the Route 7 situation? You've done a great job of pursuing these grants and other things, but you know, they've got those electronic message boards. Put a few out there. Just say we're watching or something. I don't know. Just a thought. Anything we can do on Town Center, you know, the Call Plaza was used, Market 32 Place was huge. But anything else you want to do with lighting or signage or other things in that area, and we can be helpful with some small dollar grants to do things, let us know. Broadview on Upper Union Street, Steve was talking about this. So the good news, right at Van Antwerp and Union, there was this house, we tried to save it, and it was just too far gone. And we had an empty credit union next door. Good news was that Broadview bought that credit union. Broadview knocked down the house, and they want to clean up that parking lot, maybe create the lots or do something there. We're going to work with Laura on that, work with the staff. Just, they want to do the right thing. They need a little more parking. They don't really want to build another building there. But the problem with that building is you sat in traffic at Van Antwerp as you go to Union Street. And for how many years we looked at this really horrible zombie house, which Broadview knocked down. Their concept for that lot is to really landscape it, put benches there, lighting, make it a really nice setting. So hopefully we can get that done in 25. Upper Union Street's struggling right now. We had a bad year. National Grid came in and tore out the whole street. And Upper Union, part of it's in this unit, of course, and I'd love to see the gas station project underway. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that was huge.
But the rest of the district is really struggling. Please go there and shop, buy stuff. The merchants have had a tough year. The city will be paving the last week of October. That'll help a lot. But Grid just came in and was like, we have to upgrade these gas lines. And so they basically tear up everything. It's a nightmare. And there's pebbles and dirt, garbage. I mean, it is stressful. And we've tried to get on Grid, but Upper Union is in many ways so much associated with this unit. Keep us in your prayers. We really pushed hard to get the paving done before the snow flies. The Balltown site here next to WRGB, again, if that guy's not gonna mow it, you want us to mow it? I don't know what they're doing. I know that's a subject. I mean, it's all over the place. You know, and somebody said, I'm happy to mow it. I'll bring my own mower over there and do it on the weekend. But we have crews that can do that. If somebody wants to turn us loose, but I don't want to get arrested for trespassing, but you can come down me out. I can't do it. Yeah, okay, if we can help, let us know. ODHPEC, this has been on our list for years. At one point, they talked about all the buildings along Balltown, beyond the pond that's there on the road, becoming available. We met with them, got the town informed about this, that basically all those buildings are now gonna be radio. There's one.
By the state?
By the state.
Okay.
So that's kind of off the board. There is one piece of land that's that big parking lot you see right next to the Raymore and Flanagan Plaza. That area could become available to go out to auction by the state. But basically the state people have told us, different agencies are occupying those buildings, which is a good thing. And they're investing in them and rehabbing them. And so that's why.
Ray, if you ever get invited to their meetings, like if they've got ground crews out there and we have any leverage whatsoever, because on Balltown Road.
It really helps.
Yeah.
They have, it's a great idea Laura had, and we don't always have that vision. So it's great that you had it's a great suggestion. We can bring that up with it.
Okay, all you have to do is tell them. I'm in there and investing anyway. Jade is really good about stuff like this. So we just need to get their ear.
Go back to
Okay.
that. It's a great idea because people do walk that corridor, so. Walmart, we still don't have any action. We did identify the person who's responsible for closed stores at Walmart. We have a good contact there. He's in Bentonville. Unfortunately, the leads have dried up. We're still working on it. Any suggestions from people in the community? Any thoughts? Let us know. It's 40,000 square feet. Yeah, no, I mean, we've had some people looking at it. It's very difficult because Walmart's paying their rent. They have a ground lease, and until that lease is up, and Walmart doesn't allow other groceries in it. So there's restrictive rules and covenants in place. So it's a struggle.
But they're paying for an empty building.
They're paying for an empty building. Yeah. Behind Old Town Hall, this is just looking at how you guys found it last time, last administered, less looking, most desirable times in the state, the Northeast for sure. You guys have done a great job. We've helped where we could. But one of the opportunities, and I love Dean Park, and the whole bike trail, I'll talk more about them. Everything, it's just a beautiful place. It's still well maintained. But that whole property behind Van Antwerp School, behind the old town hall, just seems like it's never changed. And is that owned by, it's owned by the school district?
Yeah.
Like, it could be something that they even identified like their state match, which they can get for capital projects. If that's fundable at 80%, if there was a delta above that we had to help build, but that area just seemed, it's not changed since I was playing Little League there a long time ago. And I wasn't very good at Little League, so I never made it to the big stadium there. But it's so.
We were talking about trying to see if we could get them to put pickleball courts and those tennis courts there.
It would be unbelievable. I mean, it would be such a good thing for old Niskuna, right up the street from the co-op, Granville. I mean, it's such a great piece of dirt, as we call it in the development business. And it's never been, where do the kids from Van Antwerp go out there on lunchtime?
They use it for some modified practices and PE. Yeah, they use it for, yeah.
I don't know if we could ever get a meeting. And again, the school district here does a fantastic job. If something we can help on. Last thing is the trail. So we put up trail etiquette signs and we put up welcome to Schenectady County and Niskuna logo on the signs. And we're getting a lot of good feedback on that because the trail since COVID and never had such higher use. The next thing, the trail etiquette signs and the welcome to Schenectady County and well received. We have 12 interpretive signs that we're going to put out on the trail. Based on the success of the Alco Heritage Trail, if you ever walk around the harbor site, you see the different signs that are homage to the old Alco works that were there. We have a sign at the train station We have a sign at Capel, which was an adventure to get Capel to approve it. We have a sign at GE Aviation, GE Vernova, the R&D campus, and we have a sign down by the aqueduct. So I'm going to be sending those to you the next, maybe today. So we have we just need an okay. We produce the signs, they're on pedestals, and we just want to make sure you're all good. We're gonna make sure everybody's good with the line, but they're really cool because, people don't realize what goes on at Capel, which is very interesting, and GE and these different things. So the county plays a role in kind of helping to maintain the bike trail in certain areas. This unit does a fantastic job of maintaining the trail. It's such an asset in our town. It's unbelievable. We try to connect it better downtown because people used to get lost. So the trail is a lot more improved. So we're going to be coming at just giving you the sign specs and saying, is this okay? Whatever. So again, I've summarized, it's taken a lot of time. I apologize, but follow us on Facebook if you don't. And I really wanted to thank Laura and Clark and the whole team here. I'm in town hall a lot. I'm here a lot. We're coordinating well with Matt. Should have mentioned, we have talked to the state about some funding to help support water and sewer associated with some of these GE projects that'll be coming down the pipe. And Matt and the team have been very helpful on that. And I'm very optimistic that we're going to get some support on that. So that'll be great. I appreciate your help on that.
I appreciate it from you
very
much.
It's been really great. So it's a great team here. We just got to keep it going. And anything we can do to help or any ideas, let us know. Thanks.
I just want to say that I have this feeling, the same feeling I had last year with the game, and that is when you start talking about all the development that we have, and I hear it at the Metro, but when you give us the whole big picture, I get excited about living in this. That's just a whole lot going on. In fact, excited and proud.
Yeah.
Let's give this man another hand. Come on.
Keeping here without the team at the town. It's not one, it's the team. And we're up here all the time, and I can't tell you how good the team is here. It's phenomenal. It's very smart people, and they get it. And as long as we do good projects and these companies are respectful of the town, and they have been, GE comes in at the last minute of the lot. Momentum came in, and they're better, but GE has a tendency to come in like, we got to do this very soon, and that stresses us out sometimes. But hopefully that'll get a little better. But some of the stuff, this direct air capture, it's unbelievable, the potential. Like I think once that building gets finished, it's under construction now. I think you'll have so many major developments there, and people coming from all over the world to see it. So.
Well, it's been a big game changer, saving SI, moving them into downtown and getting another group in there, getting momentum in there. That's been a big game changer. The big game changer with Rivers Ledge, right? Taking a wasteland and making it into a livable, really great small community, and kind of connect our riverfront with the casino riverfront. Those are 180-degree turns. So those are really, really big. And I don't think people understand with GE Vernova and Momentive, there's like a little tech valley going on here.
Absolutely.
And the jobs that as you mentioned, those are very, very good paying jobs that keep people here in town and keep them going to restaurants and spending money locally. And those are really big game changers that Metroplex has worked really well with all the towns in downtown Schenectady. It's not just one town. It's not just a city. It's everything that goes around it that really makes it. And you take that along with, Global Foundries and the nanotech in Albany, and this area, this capital region is really becoming something great. No question.
And you got it, as all of you as leaders of the town have to keep that message going. Because you talk to the average Joe in Schenectady or Jane, they'll tell you G's laying off. They're like, no, they're not. Go to Google. Schenectady. There's 150 openings today you can apply for. And it's just we still have to do better messaging to get that word out that there is game-changing technology happening right here in town. And there's jobs, and they're good paying jobs, as John said. So Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. We'll let you get your agenda and anytime you need me, call me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you at the next meeting. Thank you. Nice seeing you. See you. Thanks.
That's a great way to start off.
Sure is. Very positive and energetic, absolutely. Okay, do we have anything from the public?
Oh.
Absolutely.
So I'm Tommy to eat. Enjoy some cookies, please. I'm not taking them home. We already have a cardiologist on the team. No, I'm a local business owner here, and we're working now with a number of other small local businesses, nothing at the GE momentum scale. But we're working on a couple of things. One is an association of local businesses with the objective moving forward, which speaking hopefully later to Metroplex about forming a Niskuna business improvement, looks like they have on Upper Union Street or downtown Albany, but to have a bid for Niskuna. To the benefit of the businesses and the residents as well. We're also working, which will be done this year, on creating a business that focuses exclusively on communication within the town of Niskuna relative to how you can volunteer, how you can find events, how you can support local business. There are over 200 businesses in Niskuna that are either owned by Niskuna residents or that more than employ 50% or more of Niskuna residents. So we want to make sure to highlight that. And I actually really, there's such great synergy between the large businesses, the small businesses, the school, and the residents in Niskuna. And I think it's in everyone's best interest to continue to highlight that and communicate it, not necessarily in a way that says we are the tech valley. I actually agree with Ray that kind of doing that somewhat quietly is to our benefit, much like we put on or we organized the Niskuna Luminary display on December 24th. And the Gazette reached out to us a week ahead of time and said, we want to run a big story. And we refused to participate in the story because we didn't want to bring outside traffic necessarily here to create more. We literally want to cater to the people who spend the other 364 days a year in Niskuna. So I think it's great that we let people know that there are exciting things going on and we can do that through this method. But putting out a press release to the New York Times or Washington Post is not anything you want to do to talk about, at least from the project that we're working on here. I really came to listen. I'll be here at every meeting relative to economic development. I'm interested in doing anything that I can to help the town, and it's come to my attention that I can do more from outside this building than I can from inside. So we need to do that.
Well, Thomas, I want to thank you on behalf of the town for your investment in the Broken Inn. I think it really kind of jump-started the Co-op Plaza. And it's been a great asset. I know you have other businesses in the area as well. So thank you for your investment and your time in Niskuna and the surrounding area.
We live here.
Yeah,
We just sell burgers.
that's right.
I do want to mention relative to communication real quick. I listened to the last meeting and I know that we had a lot of open board spaces and seats, and we talked about, I think Laura talked about an e-blast that went out. I think unbeknownst to the town, we put out a social media post that same day. We just pulled the analytics. We had 433 people engaged, not view it, but 4,600 who viewed it, 433.
Wow.
So there is certainly some positive benefit to having not just public communication, but private communication for those same objectives to help get people involved. We're on any given day, depending on whether it has traction or not, the social media that we're putting out is hitting somewhere between 35 and 40% of the people in this town. So we're able to get word out relatively quick and in a way that's different from the town. So when someone complains about the water bill, for example, the town can't say, turn off the water. Or the town can't say, if you don't like it, get involved or move. But we can say that because, because we don't care if you don't come buy a burger. So you just come take that seat. So, anyway, we're looking forward to continuing to improve communication and things happening both inside and outside the building. That's it. Enjoy the news.
Okay. And anything else? Anybody else here from the public or online?
No.
Good. That brings us to the minutes of September 6th, 2024. And I will make a motion to accept those.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Are there any opposed? And those will be approved unanimously, and that brings us to the resolutions.
So I basically just have the three carryover resolutions from the last meeting. I know we had some things that we want to discuss about the short-term rental code. I have attached the most recent copy to the agenda. One of the things that we started doing internally was preparing Elena, our helper attorney, Chuck, has been creating a form based on our code. So like, it's almost like we're actually trying to pretend dry run, implement it before we actually adopt the code. Chuck has already identified a couple small things that we should probably fix, and my staff has already, just by going into the form and making a form from the code, realized a couple things as well. So, I think probably I have it on here for adoption. I feel like we can get it to a place where we can at least, not adoption, sorry, call for a public hearing. But I know we need to have an internal meeting beforehand, but whenever you guys are ready, we've been working away on it. So, I've got it on here for a public hearing, hoping that we can have it.
Yes.
My goal is still to get this to the point where we can at least start implementing it on January 1st, if possible.
I think that is possible. So we'll meet internally and we'll see if we can get something on.
My suggestion to the town board was just to make sure that we had whatever changes, if there was gonna be any done, so that we weren't having to call for a public hearing and then call for another public hearing, that like what we call for a public hearing is what we anticipate being final.
And Chuck has been like really helpful. We've been reading the Fair Housing Act together and watching some presentations on it and everything. So I think we're really ready to have a meeting with you guys to figure out what we can.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you.
So the second one is a resolution to award a contract for construction plans for sidewalks. Oops, that actually should say Cornelius, not Consul. So it's Cornelius, Birchwood, and Palmer Ave. We actually changed it from Consul because Consul, John and I, or John, are gonna go out and see if we can get an easement. The easement in and of itself is gonna take a while. So for Consul, we're gonna work on land acquisition if possible. For Cornelius and Birchwood, we don't think that land acquisition is needed, so we're gonna work on engineering on those ones. And the idea was, if we pay for the engineering and the survey up front with some of the money that we have in this year's budget for sidewalks, that'll make these projects extremely competitive for grant applications for construction. And yeah, it's just a really critical step, I think, for funding. So while we have it, we're looking at Cornelius and Birchwood, looking to spend about $60,000 for the engineering of Cornelius and Birchwood. And then Palmer, we're tackling with our American with Disabilities Act plan funding. So Palmer, if possible, like really got to work on this, but we would like to award design and construction if possible, because we would like to encumber that money this year. Every year we really need to be doing an ADA project to upgrade our sidewalks so that they're ADA compatible. Palmer has an existing sidewalk between Grand Boulevard and Van Antwerp Middle School, but it's pretty thin and it kind of goes in and out in areas, and it does not have the correct cross slopes and things like that. So what we'd like to do is use the ADA funding for Palmer Ave.
Very good.
And then the last one I had, if you guys remember the timeline for adopting the town logo, we did the public hearing in August. September was the kind of go through and think about it month. On that original timeline, then the resolution for adoption would be at this month. So I have it on there, let me know.
I think I would like to have that on, but I think they're still talking about it, but hopefully we'll get a resolution on there.
Okay, so do you want to keep it as tentative, or do you want me to take it off for agenda and then you guys can make
Should we keep it as tentative?
We can keep it as
Okay. So maybe, Alina, when I send it to you, or you can just add tentative there.
That's fine.
I think the other one should hopefully be okay. But you can decide if you want to add tentative on any of those. Okay. I do not have anything for discussions unless anybody else has anything for that.
I have one small thing. I was talking with Ray, our superintendent of highways, about a section of the new House Farm location. In anticipation of the snow coming, he went to go take a look at. I went back to these original plans. I was trying to figure out why this was included in the original plan. It looks as though there was some sort of partition that was right next to River Road where you turn in, which I think the vision was to have some kind of vegetation or something in there. I was told it was a traffic calming thing, but I think looking at these original plans, that was back when we were going to connect it with Windsor, which obviously is not happening. The reason why it's problematic is that we had him bring his snowplow over there, and if we put anything over in this section, he's going to be taking out, several feet of somebody's lawn on the other side with the plow. So I had him actually, like, he was telling me the measurements, and I'm like, I couldn't envision what he was talking about. He took some pictures. So his solution that he's proposing, and he just is looking for sort of a blessing, is instead of putting vegetation there, to kind of give it a slight raise so he can still get the plow over it, and then put some, kind of white lines to identify it as a partition, but not necessarily something he can't put his plow over. Any comments about that? I thought it sounded like a good solution.
You should go back to planning.
Yeah, this is you're talking about the raising again at the.
This is right here.
I don't think that this community, besides the expertise, nor the ability to say that would be okay. The town
Okay.
board could possibly overrule us, but I think that should go back to planning board, and I've had this conversation with them a couple of times. Just paving that over, or even making it a bump, it's a very, very wide asphalt entrance and exit because of that median. So one thing we talked about was actually removing the median entirely and then necking the road down so that it's a standard entrance into River Road.
Is that a better solution?
But I think you probably want to learn that past a variety of people.
I guess I'm confused how it passed the planning board with these dimensions when we know it has to be plowed.
So those dimensions with that median are standard dimensions, and that's why I get nervous when it gets taken away.
So we have roads that are that small here?
I think plows don't adhere to standard traffic patterns. When they take a turn, because their front ends are so wide and they have the overhang on the wing.
Yeah.
They take part of the lane and they operate the beacon, so they can do that. But then when you add a physical barrier, that's what's.
Right.
Because normally when they would turn into that turn in, they would be partially in the other lane, but that other lane is blocked by the barrier.
Right. Well, I guess that's sort of.
At one point, there was discussion of pulling it back a little bit too,
Mhm.
not completely removing it.
Yeah.
But and Joel, the developer, was told to go back to the planning board
Yeah.
and. they
Well, I
never
think
discussed it.
the question is, why is it incumbent on Joel to go back when Joel did what he was asked to do? And now there's an issue with the town has an issue with it as proposed, or as it's currently stands, so it shouldn't really be on Joel to have to do that.
Yeah, well, okay, so my other suggestion then would be that the town pays a little money to refer it to the town designated engineer on the project and have them look at it. I just would be afraid that we add asphalt and then create a situation where cars are just driving too fast in and out of that subdivision.
So if I'm looking at this, though, it's looking a lot just like it's gonna end up being a bit of like a cul-de-sac. So are we really thinking that traffic's gonna be crazy?
No, so when there's like, when roads get widened over time or by design, if there's a large bit of asphalt, like a car taking a left off of River Road is not going to slow down as much. Whereas if there's something in their line of sight, they will swing in there much slower. It's traffic calming because it is more narrow it requires you to be more careful when you take your turns. When it's just one long piece of asphalt, the cars will cut, they'll start and they'll go across, you know, like the outcoming lane and stuff like that. So I mean, this is a very real engineering reviewed design to help with that. I don't personally have any issue with taking it out, but I think that it should be reviewed by a town designated engineer at the very least. My recommendation would be to bring it, even the town board can refer it to the planning board to just have a look at it. That's just my recommendation.
Yeah, there were sight lines and a traffic study done based on how much ingress and egress, and I think collectively we agreed that having something in there would be beneficial. The other thing that plays into this is that the orientation of one of the duplexes is also slightly different, and the driveway cut is very, very close on this property
That's right. I didn't
to,
see that.
to
Like
where
it's
the
like
garage
here.
entrance is, which is, I mean, I know that those plans weren't solidified when we looked at them, but
What was the reasoning for moving the driveway? you say?
it was the orientation of the house plan that the, I guess the client kept, correct? So they opted to have the opening to the garage on the side.
Okay, so the next step would be having the town itself put something on the agenda for the planning board. And then my hesitation in letting this drag on is that this won't get plowed. Or if it does get plowed, it'll have an inch of snow on the top of
Yeah,
it.
this is last year.
Were there
Yeah, but the
in
people weren't living there, so now if
Okay.
we're taking out mailboxes or doing damage that we're gonna have to pay for, that's gonna be a problem too.
So I want to just find the quickest way to get a good solution. If it's going to the next planning board meeting, that's fine with me. I just want to make sure we don't let it lag on it.
Problem is the next planning board meeting is for another few weeks, and then we're gonna get into potential snow season or an ability to.
That's what I'm worried about. Yeah.
Well, it's the town board has accepted the vote. I'm giving you my absolute best recommendation. I do not think you should do that. But I mean, you guys accepted it and you own it, and you can obviously defer to the superintendent of highways. I would not recommend doing so. And one thing that is frustrating to me about that, and I get it, it's just a piece of paper when you're looking at it, even the beautiful phase 2 of River's Ledge, it was a piece of paper when we were looking at it, and I feel like it's too high on one end. But it's hard for us to pivot so quickly when we bring these things to the highway, we bring these things to engineering, they get built. They have ability to say upfront, that's not gonna work for me. So I just happy to do whatever you guys say needs to be done, but feel free to also pass on that you have got to sit with these drawings before it's built and give us some of this feedback too.
That's fine. This is my first look at this, so I'm just giving you my take on things because it sounds like a much easier solution than apparently you're telling me it is. But that's fine. We just have to move on it. And so I guess I'm looking for you for some guidance. So
I think
That'd be
if there's some money that you guys can use, we could send it even just to the TDE. I mean, I'd rather have the planning board look at it, but at the very least, I think you should have the traffic engineer that reviews the traffic input and output of the subdivision review changes to the intersection.
Do you know what it is off the top of your head?
I believe it's prime.
Who was the project lead on it? Do you remember that?
It's-
That was you?
Oh, okay, so it's just
That had an extensive,
I don't think anybody's saying it didn't by any means. It's just what can we do to try to address the concern and make it a workable intersection.
I mean, if it's, what if it, so is the concern coming in and turning in off Belltown? Is that the?
Well, it's a swing, you know, with all the equipment off to the factories. I guess the passenger side of the truck as it swings around, you know what you're saying? Yeah. So that all hangs off the side of the truck.
that this is the person's property on the one side.
Right.
And then- So this is like the video of what they would be hitting. So it looks like it's the swing, but it also just looks like it just straight doesn't fit. Like the plow just doesn't fit. I don't know that's, I mean, even if you made it a smaller median, I mean, we could still have the median there, but just make it a smaller footprint.
One of the things we could probably check the building is to find out what his final plat was for the width of the road, the green strip, and the bike path. Because I remember there was discussion about the width of the bike path. And I think that that median is supposed to be a specific width as well.
Yeah.
We should,
Put on, says 5 feet.
right, but his, if that's, whatever the drawing, Yeah. okay.
Yeah, we could look.
It's just worth double checking. That way, if Joel didn't execute something and there's a foot or two that is wrong, that may be right back on him to fix. And if he didn't follow that plan, that's something that the building department would follow. So that would be an easy first step. To double check.
I should just any form, so we'll look.
Good cookies, Mr. Manchin.
Yeah, I bought them.
Well, it feels good.
I'll tell the good people that worked overnight.
Okay, that's all I got for that.
Okay, so planning board updates, we have had kind of a lighter load with the exception of the short-term rentals. So we got to a point where we believe we are passing on our recommendation to the town board. So we'll have a resolution for that at our coming meeting at the end of this month. We had a couple projects that were at Mohawk Commons. Wingstop was coming in at the end of the, where Target is, off to the right.
Mhm.
And there is on the other side, the bank, Berkshire Bank, has been switched out to Community Bank. Same use, signage. And it's staying in there. And then Upper Union Street has another tenant change at the medical complex. And then we've got two ongoing projects that have been tabled for a bit with the applicant looking at different items. One is a subdivision on Pierce Road, right off Route 7. And then the other one is on Palmer Ave, right off Upper Union Street. I guess technically an undeveloped parcel. It's there, being to possibly subdivide in a pretty dense urban pattern.
Yeah, we did receive an application from Henry's Mobile to the expansion of the application.
Oh.
But I don't expect our meetings to be short.
We've got two alternates that were appointed at the last town board meeting, and then also in the spirit of communication, we're asking each of our board members to be a liaison to a different board or community or committee in the community, which is based through the town. So we're going to have people that'll be working with, zoning, complete streets, just to kind of check in on some of the bigger projects and help do a little bit of cross dialogue so that we're not all these little independent boards. We thought that would be helpful. So.
Yeah, they sign those. Yeah, that's a good one.
Zoning board had 3 cases, all residential area variance requests. Our grants update, the Climate Smart Communities grant. You guys adopted the greenhouse gas inventory. We're still working for the government. We're still working on the community greenhouse gas inventory and the government action plan. The NYSERDA grant for $10,000 for electric landscaping equipment was approved yesterday. Yeah, I forwarded that to you. But Erin, I do need your help meeting with the finance department to just figure out how to move the money into these grants prior to the reimbursement so that, because we have some invoices that are pending and there seems to be a slip for this.
Let's do it today.
You can do it today?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be ready. And then Mohawk River Watersheds, the NRI grant, I think in your packet, if I remembered, I put in the flyer for our last outreach using this NRI, yeah, is October 9th, Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. We're inviting the public to walk the Morrow Ave Park and the Mohawk Hudson Bike Hike Trail starting at Lions Park. And what we do is we walk along those trails and we look at the different species and we see what type of vegetation and type of animals and birds and all those things. We document them all. What we're trying to do is figure out all the habitat we have, what is best, what is threatened, and that would give the town board and the planning board and the CAC the best information they can have when they're reviewing projects that could impact our habitat. So, and then the linkage study grant, I have not got an update. The last that I heard was that the contract for the contractor, the planning consultant, was out. And so my guess is it was out for a month. It probably finished up very shortly. And they'd be reviewing the proposals and then get back to us on who they want to choose. Complete Streets has been very excited about the sidewalk projects that are mentioned and has some concerns with the Grand Boulevard County project, but they're working on them, reviewing them, and they also have been working on a priority list that they would like to send out with letters again this year. Council has been working with the highway department on the street tree planting on Clifton Park Drive. Already heard back from multiple residents who are very excited to get a tree. And then I just want to make sure the presentation to the town board on October 8th, at the finance meeting, they have been working on it almost nonstop for a month. They canceled their regular meeting so they could continue to work on the presentation for the town board. So they're very excited to do that on October 8th. And
Did they give you a time frame for that? I think we had said 10 minutes.
they're at like 10 minutes. Yeah. They do. I mean, they had it at 15 and they got it down to about 10, but they would, if you guys have questions,
Just
like
like the budget
I
workshop.
should. So Conservation Advisory Council, Climate Smart Communities Task Force, again, the NRI is scheduled for October 19th. Still working on the greenhouse gas inventory for the community. Working on submittals for the round 3 clean energy community. And I did go into, we submitted for our bronze designation for a climate smart community. Actually, where we lost points was something very easy for me to fix. It was, we lost points on the documentation for our climate smart communities task force. So that's not even like we have to do a lot of extra work. I just have to document it better and more correctly. So I'm very excited to submit again in January, and I'm hoping that we'll get that designation in March. Architectural Review Board has been working away on Lions Park. We had a really good meeting with Rita. Clark and I had a really good meeting with Rita the other day. We're gonna kind of separate Lions Park out from the Historic Preservation Committee and move it over into the Architectural Review Board and really get them going on it. That frees up the Historic Committee to be doing more diversity of things that need to be done. And then we'll be getting those quotes and getting all that information, to the supervisor's office so that he can know what he needs to do on that. And then the Comprehensive Plan Committee in your packets. I know we're getting really short on time. I was planning on kind of just going through this with you guys a little bit, but you know what? Just take a look. Maybe I can bring it back at the next meeting too. It's a summary of the survey questions that we got from the public, just so you can see what the committee's been doing. We also have a mathematician from Union who's working on this, and she has some better graphs and things like that. So this may get better, but feel free to just kind of page through it. One of the things we've been learning is that people are definitely wanting to see and have their safety continue. That was a theme that came up that maybe we hadn't identified before. People really value sidewalks, green space, trees, parks, and they're concerned about taxes and school. So that's not like a super shocker, but I mean, the data does show it there. So anyway, feel free to page through that. The building department is working on closing out some property maintenance for the year. There's at least 2 properties that we have to do a contract cut on. We have actually tried to do a contract cut on Eastern. It's been impossible because of the site in and of itself to get somebody in there, but we are hoping that somebody would buy it and then we can work with them to make it better. But there's 2, I think, on Route 7 that we're trying to work on cleaning up for the end of the year. And then the planning department had a really good meeting with the engineering department on the drainage knowledge analysis studies. Think that we came up with some next steps. We'll probably have to schedule another meeting about that. The council road sidewalk. I'm not sure if I ever got back to you. You reached out to me asking for some more information, so I'll make sure I get that back to you. so that we can start working on that easement. And then the Winnie Road, I have drafted that letter to send to the owners of the area that we would like to have the easement. I made a map. Matt was working with me on getting like the language or whatever we have that's available for the easement. So all I need to do is get that final easement over to them. My idea would be that we don't need a new survey or legal description or anything. We can just change the utility easement to include public access, and then we'd have to go and make an actual formal public access connection between Winnie Road and.
You talked to the property owners about it? You know, it's.
I have talked to them on the phone. They did not want to do anything over the phone. They asked me to send them a letter with the maps and stuff like that. So it's been a while. I may just give them a call and say, hey, the letter's in the mail.
Okay.
But I think seeing it may help. And, you know, some of the concerns that they spoke to me about were that people wander into their property, you know, over and beyond where they're, not that they're supposed to be, but so one of the things I think that could help would just be that we put some kind of split rail fence up or something along it, you know, with just some no trespassing signs on the other side. Makes it very clear. And then I think right now there's nothing, but there is a water line there. So there's kind of like a little herd path, which may, you know,
Water line and two sewer lines.
yeah,
And also the electric and gas.
yeah.
Have they had issues with people wandering?
I guess
They
they
do,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess they do.
You can play when we replace
Yeah,
culvert.
they do.
Or they couldn't get by. We're not supposed to be there anyway.
House like pretty significantly far away.
Yeah, it's quite a ways.
Their house, the owner's house is on Mohawk, but they have trouble with people encroaching on their land, and they have trouble with people sort of, which does happen, I think, sometimes with the open space that's privately owned, is that they like
They think
that it's public or think that they have some right to be able to walk on it, and so they do, but it's not, it's private
We keep the vegetation down once a year.
because of maintenance of
Yeah.
the water line.
So there's this clear path, and then it's wooded, so there is a pretty boundary line where.
We could just put a
That's
split
good,
rail.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Because I think like right now, there's nothing, I mean, there doesn't have to be, because it's all private property, but if we were gonna put something and then you put the split rail fence, I definitely think it keeps more people from wandering into the forest.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, the only thing you can use this for, if the owner's so allowed, you got to get yourself over to Merlin, like, don't be walking in the private forest. Yeah. Do you have anything else you wanted to add, Doc?
Actually, again, I can only say amen to Ray's excellent report. But I just want to just reflect on the fact that we all throughout the whole county are really fortunate to have a visionary like Ray, who he anticipates, he gets things done, and I think most importantly, his enthusiasm and his care for just growth throughout the county, and he particularly looks out for this field. So I just feel that we're very fortunate just to have Ray in that spot.
Yeah, he's been very instrumental in the whole county, really turnaround in the past decade or two, without a doubt.
And I tell you, I have never seen a leader who runs a meeting as masterfully.
He works
Right.
really good with everyone.
Mhm.
Really does, whether you're Republican, whether you're Democrat, and whether you're on, you know, what side of the aisle or table, he's really good at that. And I think that's been his best quality in getting things done, without a doubt. Yes, yeah. All right, anything from our legal department?
I think she stepped out.
All right,
I know that she's still working on the Miller Brothers case, the other thing that Ray mentioned.
yes.
Yeah.
Rita? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
What does NRI stand for?
Oh, a natural resources inventory.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm trying to speak.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Too many
acronyms.
acronyms.
Yeah, I get lost every now and then as well. And Rita?
Okay, well, major thing is we're having the Schenectady County. All right, they have a proclamation now, since last week. For the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And now that it's actually a New York State, you know, thing national. I think so, but I brought what a lot of the counties and towns are doing is they're making it, they're, you know, performing resolutions, you know, and to recognize the day and also have programs. So I'm on the committee for the county and the city of Schenectady. So we just try to combine. And I'm reaching out to this community, like the schools and the towns, if they can get involved. All right, programs, right? I reached out to Erin and she was very supportive. I thank you very much because, you know, that's added work for everyone, but it's good for the community programs department and also the seniors and the school system. And what I would do is, because people are accustomed to operating in their own space, so they wouldn't have to have program, you know, put on them, but actually come out of what comes out of the town. Because especially with the school system has their own way of programming. And so they would really benefit by just giving them the materials and the resources that they need from the committees and the commissions. And, you know, and one of the things that come out of these things, like if they have plays or things like that, those plays can also be performed elsewhere on the county level, on the state level, and so forth. You see, depending on how much support. So the more that we do in the town, the more that we'll get recognition for our efforts. See, it's just a matter of moving things along, and it benefits the school system and it benefits the town. You know, because that's another thing. Well, not giving you my age, but I was also part of the first. I mean, the second one, 1976. So this is my second, and that means something to the seniors because yes, you live long enough to actually see another commemoration. And it was, you know, and I worked for the federal government at that time. I was only 18 years old, but it was something big then. And the biggest thing right now is personal because I'm still here. So, you know, it's like that kind of thing. It's like, okay, yes, but I'm still here. So, well, this is going to be pretty big, you know, throughout all, they're going to be reenactments. So if you have like an art department at the school systems, you have music, you can have your bands. Remember, we also have the police department that is celebrating their 100 years. So if you bring all of that to a head, and the proclamation ends in 2033. Because remember, the war went on for a long period of time. So we're going to be moving through this. And we're not only going to be concentrating on the standard, you know, stories. What they're looking for, the Schenectady Historical Society are looking for the outlier stories, like the Loyalists, you know, and we have John Duncan here, okay, who everybody, I'm a fan of his, you know, because I'm just a fan of his, but you couldn't talk about him. Well, now Niski Una has center stage because when everyone's looking for who was our loyalist, he's famous. You know, he is. He's in the books regardless. So that's something that's going to give us a good platform. You know, we're looking for power on this committee now. So that's what I'm saying. If we get this moving, and it's not any for people to go out of the way of what they're already doing, but this is just to add that beat. See, so thank you.
Yeah, she just posted.
Yes. Oh, we're also showing up. I'm sorry.
That's very exciting, Rita.
Yeah, because you guys, once the motivation gets going, because we went from 1975 to 1976. And the thing about it is, we talk about patriotism, but when you really do things like this, you start to appreciate, and it lasts a long time. You know, it lasts actually most of your lifetime because you always remember that connection that you personally had to this. So we're gonna pass it on. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. I want to also inform about the database because we are moving ahead with this database. We haven't been able to do that during the year because we've had this train station. But the thing is, when we received at the historical commission, the permits, camp construction, reconstruction, demolition permits, we have to then now scramble to get all the information for that particular building or structure. And what I proposed with the commission in the beginning was that what we were going to do was the in-house work, how to make this commission strong, so that when you have work that comes in, you have the resources. And if you don't, it's just a matter of going through your route to get the resources. There's never this mad scramble and all of this things. We need to. This is not such a big thing for us. That should be something that should be just our general, route. All right, so this is what we're going to do next committee meeting. Commission meeting. We're going to put this down. It's exactly how it's going to happen, and if we have any ambiguities, we're going to hash that out. Because we have a new person, Liz Rice, and I'm telling you, between Liz and Lily, and Liz now is on board. See, because Lily's been screaming about this database, and this is also our historic registry that we're talking about. Because we also have to make sure that we have a good model so that as we start adding buildings, because they age every 50 years, we get a new group of buildings, even 50 years old, we have to add them on to our list of historic places. But we also have to verify what is historic about this before we put them on. We just don't put them on. So we need to have some kind of method so that we're not always helter-skelter, and that when new people come in, we can explain to them, accurately, and so they'll be able to just jump right in. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Is there anything further for the good of the order? If not, I'll make a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And we are adjourned. Thank you.
So I'm going to ask about an easement. Well, they're only using one.